Welcome to The Change, a podcast about the changes in life that shake, break, and make us. I'm Laura, a 45-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum who has until recently always loved change.
And I'm Cathy, a 53-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum, and change is actually my kryptonite. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia on which this podcast is recorded and recognise the continuing connections to lands, waters and communities.
We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and elders past and present.
Hey Laura.
Hey Cathy, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am good because today we are talking to the wonderful Claire Mason. She's a flight attendant. She's also a full-time carer for her dad who lives with Parkinson's and dementia. And she's also speaks a lot about being alcohol, kid and man-free. So she's got a lot of things going on.
Joy.
Yeah, I know, right? She's had a lot of changes and we can't wait to get into all of these topics with her right now.
Hi Claire, how are you?
Hello ladies, I'm so great, thank you, and so chuffed that you've invited me on to the potty. How good.
We are so pleased to have you on. So I know the Claire story, if you like, because I was on your podcast some years ago.
You were.
When we were,
so
talking about being sober and those sorts of things. So do you want to just give us kind of a little bit of the quick rundown of like, how did Claire get to here kind of thing, your sober journey, a little bit around that sort of thing?
My sober journey, yes. Okay. How long have we got?
Quick version. The quick version.
All right. So I'm nearly 4 years alcohol-free. Started a podcast 2 years ago, I think, and we did 90 episodes where we had guests on every second week, which was incredible, kept me amazingly accountable in that whole time, and it was just absolutely life-changing. So, being alcohol-free is the best decision I've ever made in my life. I wish I'd done it sooner. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, absolutely. But I have more questions leading from that because I am a drinker. I'm not a big drinker, and I know this. Everyone says, isn't it? Like, I'm not a big drinker, but I am curious. And obviously, I've spoken to Cathy about it at length. People that have given away the booze are so almost spiritual about it, and I am curious about how you got to that point and your kind of how easy or hard it was to say goodbye, and then obviously you've really done so well since. So just tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, well, I think I had a little bit of a head start because about 10 years ago I'd given booze a flick for 14 months. That was after a breakup that I had. But there was no sober curious movement. There was no education about it. I was just like, you know what, drinking 2 bottles of white Sauvignon Blanc to deal with a breakup and a betrayal, that's not helping me right now. So instead of drinking those 2 bottles of white wine each night, I just walked for 2 hours each night. And gradually as that time went on, I felt the changes. The clarity everybody talks about came on. I lost weight. I looked great. I was glowy. People were commenting how good I looked. And then I didn't have any plan to not drink ever again in that time, but during that 40 months, you just feel better and better and better. And anyway, so then after 40 months, I ended up dating another guy and started drinking again. And that whole 8-year period was just debaucherous. It was me just wanting to get back that clarity that I had, years earlier.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't grab it. And then that relationship was abusive. Long story, we can touch on that later. But answer to your question, this time, yes, I was a grey area drinker. Fortunately for me, I wasn't dependent on alcohol. I didn't have an addiction to alcohol. I did actually misuse alcohol. I used it to self-medicate, as most of us do, take the edge off, escape reality, numb pain. And I was a binge drinker, definitely. I loved getting absolutely smashed and having a big weekend and having a bender. And my identity really got wrapped up in that as well, for how long I could stay out and how much I could drink. And because I used to hear the guys around me talking about the girls that could go hard, And so I was like, they will like me if I go really hard too. So I really sort of stepped up into that sort of what I thought would be what I'd be valued on. So into the spiritual thing you asked me about, Laura, like the letting go of alcohol and just being completely raw. Like we're raw dogging life over here without alcohol, you know. We haven't got anything to escape and numb, and it is an absolute flex, I've got to say. Like we're really feeling all the feelings, and Jill Stark talks about it in her book that the best thing about sobriety is you feel the feelings, the worst thing about sobriety is you feel your feelings. But there's so much, like I am so much calmer. Like I can still obviously drop my biscuit, you know, and lose my lolly about certain things, but I'm never actually going to full extremes. Like I seem to be able to, feels like I'm about to lose it, and then I'm like calm again. And it's just, you have a lot more, the clarity to reflect on your behaviours and patterns of behaviour that you things that you kind of could have done better, or you're able to handle situations better, or how I haven't honoured myself in the past. Like just I saw this quote the other day. It was I wrote it down actually. Transformation happens when you meet who you are with compassion and love. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, is just honouring myself and forgiving myself for the decisions that I made, you know, when I'm drunk, and the relationships that I've been in. And it's just the most beautiful place to walk around the world now and see the vibrancy of trees and textures and wanting to help people, and just little things, services to others, instead of, you know, sitting getting boozy and you know, all day and riding the day off and being hungover. Like you just get more out of your days, and I couldn't recommend it more highly. And we've always said it, like if sobriety was easy, everyone would be doing it, and it's not easy. And alcohol is, what's the word I'm looking for, glamorized, and you know, it's put into every part of life in commiserations and celebrations, isn't it? So of course 100%. People think they can't live without it. Of course they do. I totally get it. And you know, it has its place. I think Australian drinking culture, like many others, it can be really, really dangerous, but there's big bucks to be made for lots of people out there, isn't there? So, but there is another way, and I think, you know, just it's the greatest gift of self-love that I've ever given to myself is removing alcohol from my life. I love it. Waking up fresh every day, eating up the day. I've got, you know, I'm just up and about. I've never felt more freer and stronger, and just had the clarity.
It is a flex.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah. And I think if we look at, I mean, you know, moving into kind of where you find yourself today, which is, you know, we touched on it before we started the record. You're at your dad's place. You know, you've had a major change happen in the last kind of 6 to 8 weeks of your life, and you've kind of turned your life up on its head, and we'll touch on that in a bit. But if you were trying to do that and cope with that change that you've implemented, that you know, you decided, you're like, this is what I'm going to do for now. And if you were coping with that on top of like having a bottle of wine every night because you're like, it's a pretty crappy, hard situation that I'm in, so I think I'll drink my feelings, and then you're waking up in the morning with a hangover to deal with life, that would be so hard. So I think just from the outside looking in, you know, I know what it's like waking up in the morning with a hangover to kids when my kids were little, and that's hard enough, you know, and, you know, that's kind of a similar sort of, not similar at all, but similar in that you need to wake up with a fresh head in the morning. So, yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more, Kath, and it's interesting. So I actually, you're absolutely spot on. During COVID, I actually cared for Dad for 5 months. He was unwell then. He'd had a reaction to some medication, and he was so unwell, and I was having to take him to all sorts of appointments. We even went to what's the cancer centre? Peter Mac cancer centre. We thought he had blood cancer. It was a whole palaver. But I was caring for him for that 5 months, and that's the exact time that my drinking went, like really took off. Like I really hit it. And that's when I started giving up at that point. So you're exactly right. What my experience was like then caring for Dad, I was angry, I was resentful, I was not coping, I was hating it. I think about that now, and this experience caring for Dad now, like it is so magic. I'm embracing every moment, even the frustrating moments. I'm like just get a little bit snippy, but I'll be able to rein it back in really easily and just embrace it for what it is. And it's just such a privilege to be here and with him without alcohol, and it's a real blessing. So I totally understand. And it's exactly the same with having kids. You've got to be on. Don't you?
Yeah. And you never know when you're going to need to maybe take them to a doctor's appointment or to the hospital in the middle of the night. And if you've been drinking or whatever, you really shouldn't do that. We often possibly do, jump in the car and drive to the hospital. But if you think about it later, you're kind of like, oh, maybe was I a bit over the limit, maybe, or close to, not drunk, like not rolling over the floor and all of those things. But but talking about Dad, so bring us up to speed. So like I've mentioned that it's a big change. What's going on with you at the moment, Claire? Like where are you? You're obviously not at your place in St Kilda or in Melbourne, wherever. I know you love to walk on St Kilda Beach, but I know that you're not there at the moment. You're with Dad eating ice cream.
I know. How's that real? It went viral. Dad had eating ice cream. Yes. Did you?
You'll have to tell Laura. She doesn't know.
I know. It's like 3.1 million views this reel had of Dad eating ice cream at 7:30 or 7 o'clock on a Monday morning. It's just gorgeous. It was just popping off, and I just think how gorgeous, in a world that's an absolute bin fire at the moment, that my dad is bringing so much joy to people. Like 15 seconds of a bit of fun. It's really wholesome. So, so my dad, 80, he's got Parkinson's, dementia, and he's just the best. We've always had the closest relationship. I just adore him. It's the only relationship that I really feel grounded and safe. So I've had a lot of support around him for the last couple of years and ramped it up with aged care, and he's got a home care package. It's a level 4, and that's been really good until it's just not. Like for the last 12 months being away, for listeners, I'm a flight attendant, and so I would get, constantly, time zone, different challenges of calls, trying to logistically figure things out, and things are going wrong with Dad, and I'd have to fly home, and it just got too much. And I was taking an extraordinary amount of time off work to be able to come home for him. So I've kind of flipped it around now. I've used a lot of emergency leave, long service leave, and I'm just sort of waiting to square away taking 12 months leave without pay. So that's still in the pipeline at the moment. So I'm hoping that will work now that I'm putting it out there to the world. So I'm a full-time carer for him now with the support from the care team. So I will be here for, 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time, and then go back to Melbourne for a couple of days just to break it up. And I learnt that through that time that I spent with him during COVID. It was too much. I tried to do it all on my own. I was trying to be a hero, didn't need any help. It wasn't going to work. So I'm really conscious. And also the beauty of me posting about this on social media is so many people, you have, Kath, so much that really taking care of myself, which I really, really 100%. Am. And I'm being smart about how to play this out. Like 3 weeks, I'm like FIFO, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So, and that will give me that reset. Dad will have 24-hour care when I'm not here. But, he still goes to activities group. He gets picked up in a little bus and he goes up there, and that's when I can focus on my creativity and wanting to expand myself with content creation and create this career over here online. So, yeah.
And where is Dad? So, like
in
Melbourne,
in the world,
like he's obviously close by in Victoria, but like whereabouts? How far away is Dad from
we're
you?
in country Victoria. So, in a little town called Kerrang, which is a population of about 4,000 people. And it's about 4 hours from Melbourne, up on the Murray River. So, which is, I'm so bloody lucky to be here and surrounded by community. Like, I can't walk down the street without getting a hug from someone. People are offering help, snacks, soup, cakes. Like, it's really gorgeous. And people just pop in. They just pop round. And my house is never pop-in ready.
And do you think, because you don't see much about caring for an elderly parent, especially not on social media. And I think as parents, we see there's so much content around parenting, right? And caring for kids and even grandparenting, right? But I think this is such an interesting example of how caring can be a beautiful experience, a hard one. And perhaps, do you think there needs to be more of it? Are you feeling like people are really engaging with what you're showing of your dad?
Massively. Like, that's a really great question, Laura, because I've always posted about Dad, like, because he's just so funny. Like, he's just, and people always say, oh my God, I love your dad content, da, 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 da. And then I just thought, I know, it's so cathartic for me to share it too, particularly when you feel so isolated as a carer. You've got this little community out there cheering you on, or, you know, people are going through the same stuff. But I 100% agree. We celebrate this start of life. We should be talking about the end of life. And yes, it is, I've got to be honest, like, okay, I'll just give you what I've been thinking about recently. I never wanted kids. I've got one now. It's kind of the same thing. Your day is just turned on its head if Dad's unwell. Like yesterday, he didn't want to go to activities group and everything I had planned. I'm now, you know, surrendering what I want to do, and now I'm caring for Dad, which is a beautiful thing, and I love that. But the difference is with kids, you're growing with their you're supporting their independence. And each season they're growing, you get this really exciting, it's really beautiful watching them grow and their future and all these milestones. With Dad, there's no future here. Like, it's grim. We're nursing him or supporting him as his independence slips, you know?
Right.
So you don't know how long that's going to go on for. And is this going to be weeks, months? How bad is this dementia going to get? And I think when you say the icky stuff out loud, it eases it, doesn't it? So I 100% agree, Laura. Like, the engagement I've had my Instagram is popping off. Like, I'm actually a little bit filthy. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm over here slogging it out on my own. Dad comes in and he just absolutely dominates. It's gorgeous though. And I love that. And people love that content. And I think it's also people learning how important it is to sign up to My Aged Care. And you're right. Like, dementia is grim, Parkinson's is grim, but there's so much beauty. And that's a really strong message I'm getting from so many people of their experience caring for their parents. And it is, they say the same thing. You will not regret any of this. It is the most beautiful time. So yeah, agree. I think there needs to be more of it. And I think we need to talk about end of life in a, you know, not talk about it. People just don't want to talk about it. It's too hard. I think we need to talk about it and celebrate it because, you know, they were little too. And
that's right.
Well, it's all going to happen to all of us, right? Like, we're all, like, every day that we live is a day closer, sadly, to us dying. Like, that's just the reality of life, you 100%. Know? And we sanitize the end of life, and we sanitize things by saying, oh, I lost my parents. You know, I saw something on Insta the other day, and the guy was like, oh, I didn't lose my parents. That makes it sound like I left them at the shopping centre. I know exactly where they are, and they're dead. And my dad says that to me all the time. He's like, you are not to say that you lost me. You didn't lose me. You know where you put me. You, like, we, you know, and Dad has always said that, you know, Dad is very, like, my dad, I love him to death. And he just says that, you know, how it is, you know. And, but I'm absolutely in awe of you, Claire, because I don't know that I could do it. Like, even though I've worked in aged care and even though I know I've got the skills to do it, I don't know that I could do it. I don't know that I could put myself aside and give myself over to doing that for my parents. Yeah, so I will 100% take my hat off to you, love.
It's amazing.
Because it is a huge thing that you are doing, and don't underestimate that. And I think also you being so open about it, and some of the reels and the stories that you've posted, while you're talking about the beauty and the privilege that of the time that you have to share with Dad, you're also talking about that it's bloody lonely and it's hard. And there are days when you've jumped on and you've done stories and you've been in tears because it's hard. And it's a reminder of that, it's a day less that you have with Dad because it was a day that you've had with Dad or whatever,
Yeah.
So it's all of those things. And I think it is different, very different to raising children, because you're exactly right. We raise them from these tiny babies and we're growing them and raising them to fly and be independent and have their own lives. But it's not what's happening at the other end.
Yeah, and we live in such a ageist society as well, right? So there's such a stigma about growing old. There's such a stigma about the, even like the word elderly is something that is not regarded as a kind of, it's not something anyone really wants to be referred as. Elder is much more respectful term that people are really starting to use a lot more. And I think it's true. I feel we need to really respect our elders and learn from them and care for them, and I think it's really great to see it happening actually, with you and with other people that are shining a bit of a light on it and open that conversation. And like you said, Claire, you're shining a light in the dark corners, but also in the good and the beauty of what you're doing.
Oh, that's beautiful, Laura. Thank you. And thanks so much, Kath. That's really beautiful words. Like I when people say, you're doing such an amazing thing, I don't feel like I am. Like, I'm just like, no, this is what I'm doing. Like, this is my new job now. Like, there's no question. There was no, of course, like I danced with the whole indecisiveness of, oh, can I still fly a little bit? And, it's that point where you've made the decision and you jump. Do you know what I mean? And then there's that little limbo stage that you're like, oh, can't I do both? And I can't do both. But then you go, who am I then? Where my identity was, my ego is so wrapped up in flying. I've been doing it for 17 years and I miss putting on a uniform. I miss doing my hair. I miss trotting through the terminal. I miss being a leader. I miss having, problem solving and having people come to me for the answers. I miss being around people. I miss my overnights, like all the things. I can do that one day and I just have to adjust to this one. But there's just no question of what I'm doing. Our dad has been there my whole life and it just feels a normal and natural thing that this is what I do now. Like that, he cared for me, I care for him. It's just a natural progression that it was just no question. And I feel like this is it. I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. And this is why, along with me making those decisions and being really comfortable with that. But I feel like it's led me to this point as well, which is really, it's pretty amazing. And Laura, I really love what you said about elder, because I've found myself calling them seniors as well. So I really love that elder and senior. I think it's a really beautiful, we respect them. They've brought us up. They've led the way and we owe it to them. They're just, I always look around and go, oh, you were my age once. Like, what's it like in that body for you? And just want to make it as comfortable and as fun as possible. So I really love creating this content and people just froth over it. So it's really nice. So
Yay,
keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go on, Cathy.
So I guess we've talked about, some of the changes that have happened, where you've gone from drinking to not drinking, flying to not flying, caring for Dad full time now. What's left for Claire? Obviously caring for Dad is going to come to an end at some point, whenever that is. And you're going to be there till that point. What happens for Claire after that? Like what are you doing to make sure that you've got something for you after that?
Love this. Great question. And I feel like, again, the universe is shoving me when I haven't been listening. It goes, well, I'm going to make a decision for you. I'm going to push you in the direction you need to go in. I have been wanting to do, as you girls are, digital creators, creating a life where I can do it remotely. And I started playing around with content creation in COVID, as we all did, and I really love it. I really enjoy creating content. So that is something that I really want to push, and just starting to tiz up my media kit now and, do some UGC creation, etc. Flying wise, Who knows? My flying days aren't over. Maybe I might go back to Virgin. Maybe I might go private flying. Maybe I might go to another, an elite airline.
Tell me private flying.
Who knows?
Like what? Sorry, you've just thrown two things at me. I don't know anything about this world. Tell me about private flying and elite airlines.
Well, private flying is for like little jets for very, very rich people, famous people, stuff like that. There's only sort of one or two cabin crew on board these little jets, and you can go. You've kind of got to be available at any time. You can do that casually or full time. It's very hard to get into. Elite airlines would be, like Qantas, Air New Zealand, or even going back overseas. I'd love to live overseas again. I've got a friend in Saudi, and she works for Riyadh Air, but I'm too old to go back over to the Middle East. But I would, what my dream would be? I would love to manage an A380 one day. That's the biggest, biggest aircraft. That would be the dream. It is a nightmare though. More people, more problems, but I would just love that one day. But, I don't know whether I've missed my opportunity. I did work for Etihad for a year over in Abu Dhabi, and I don't know. My flying days definitely aren't over, but what that will look like, how long this goes on for with Dad, who knows? He could be around for who knows. So I think having that backup plan of this content creation in my back pocket and having the freedom to be able to go anywhere, ideally it'd be great to fly part-time and then be able to have that content creation on the side. So, I feel like,
and maybe, I mean, and that's the tricky balance, right? Like that you're trying to work out right now. How do you care for Dad and still care for Claire and have the money and the freedom to be able to do what you need to do? And obviously if you're escaping to Melbourne once every few weeks or whatever, then you've obviously got a property there that you're looking after, and so you've got financial commitments. It's not like you can just drop out of life, right, to look after Dad for however long that lasts.
And the beauty of it is, I can get free flights on that time off when I go back to Melbourne. I don't have to go to Melbourne. I can fly anywhere for free. I've got friends that hook me up with their Airbnbs as well. And I've always been a bit of a nomad anyway, so this kind of really works in well with me to be able to be all over the place. And, while Dad's at activities group, it's like day centre. They pick him up at 10 o'clock in the morning and then drop him back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I've got that time in the middle of the day to work on this career that I'm trying to carve out on the online. So,
That's exciting. And you can do lots of travel content right in the future, and that's something that people love to see also.
Exactly. I did start a little one just before this happened. It's called Mason on Location. Okay, so that'll be my little travel and foods and eats that will pick up as we go along. So
exciting.
Who doesn't love that?
It's a little bit freeing to have these junctions in our lives, I guess, where like you say, forced, because we never really choose the path that we want to choose until it's forced upon us.
Right.
I think sometimes you sit back and you're kind of going, oh, what do I want to do? Everything's too hard. Oh, I can't see a way out of doing this because I've got this commitment and all of the things, and all the weight of the responsibility. But then when you just stop and take stock, you go, well, actually, I can make that choice. I can do that thing. I can do this thing, whatever the thing is.
Could not agree with you more, Kath. When in COVID, when we were stood down, we had the opportunity to take a redundancy or take leave without pay. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take 2 years leave without pay and really just drill down on. I had a doggy daycare, dog walking business called Claire's Dog Squad. I started the LISC, the Body Positivity and Neutrality page, started a podcast. I was an F45 fitness instructor. So I really, and I was caring for Dad. So I tried my hand at all sorts of things, and that also gave me the confidence and the opportunity and the connections that I've made with yourselves to, elevate me to all sorts of different amazing directions, which I would never have done if I wasn't forced to do it. So it's an exciting time, and I feel like here's something I find fascinating as well. Dad is elevating my social media. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's also a gift, and I call it spiritual, whatever it is. I think that's a gift that he's given me as well, that will, also send me on my way when he goes as well. Don't you reckon?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
And I think,
definitely.
too, having had that time that was not chosen, having COVID, that would have been very stressful, but you lent into it, you tried different things. And I feel as we get older, sometimes we are risk averse and we don't always trust ourselves to try different things or make those mistakes that, young people do it all the time. They'll try something, they'll start something, and then they'll go, that's not for me. And I think you get more conservative as you get older. So I think it's really great that you did that and you gave yourself a chance to try these different stuff. And, some things led to things other stuff might not have done. But, good on you for having a try and leaning into some changes.
Yes, I like to shake things up.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
We should all do it more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap this up because we've kept you for a long time, and but I'm very keen. As this podcast is called The Change, we always ask our guests about their experiences of the change when it refers to perimenopause or menopause or wherever you're at in that kind of journey. What is your experience so far of that? How are you coping or dealing with, or if at all, with any kind of peri or premenopausal symptoms or feelings?
It's pretty gross, isn't it?
Certainly can be. Yeah.
It's one of those, it's a life stage that we all end up with eventually.
I know. Okay, so I've got a lot to say about this actually. Firstly, why did we not know about this? Why did we not know about this? Don't you reckon? Why didn't we know about this? When we get our period, why doesn't doctors know about this? Every doctor and every experience that I've heard from friends, I walk into doctors and they just go, I hand them some antidepressants or they'll just palm it off. And there's just I cannot believe that women have been going through this their whole lives, and if it wasn't for podcasts and social media, women would be still suffering silence and not knowing, thinking they're going absolutely, bonkers. So, I think I also feel like the messaging out there, I kind of spent all last year, because a professional had said, one of the most important things is acceptance. You need to weight train, so you're already doing that, get off the booze, doing that, and acceptance. And I was like, okay. So I just felt like I had to accept this body that was changing. And I was hating it. I was like, no, just accept it. This is what's happening. That's what they say on all the podcasts, all I'm seeing on social media. Just accept that this is what's happening, right? And then I got this year. Can we swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course you can.
And I was like, fuck that. I'm having none of it. I ended up getting an online fitness coach. I'm still with them now. I've lost 10 kilos and I was just determined to go, no, I can be sexy and strong in perimenopause. I can have great sex. I'm having the best sex of my life. I can date and not give a fuck anymore about anything. And so I think there needs to be more about what the good things of it, because all we hear is, I'm not denying or dismissing, the symptoms are horrific. I feel like mine are mild compared to some women, and it's absolutely debilitating, and I'm not, dismissing that. That's awful. But I'm just like, nah, we can do this other side of it too, and we can bring some joy and the good things in it. So it's pretty horrific though. It's pretty shitty. It's, I've just come through about a week of rough patch, and I've just got some new supplements which I'm hopping into my first day on today. So, and there's no doubt I'll probably tuck into some HRT at some stage. I'm not, against that. So give anything a go. But I really pushing back on, like I have with pretty much everything, pushing back on societal norms. It's everyone tells you this is what's going to happen, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I'm going to try this other way, and that's what works for me. So but it's rough. It's rough for chicks, isn't it?
God, yeah, absolutely is rough for us women. But it sounds like you've got the right approach. Sometimes, you just need to say, I know myself, and I'm going to give it another try, or I'm going to try this differently, or just
That's what I'm doing.
Good.
Trying it all.
Yeah.
Bit from each pot. See where it goes. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Claire, and just your honesty and your, everything. And hopefully your honest sharing about the hard parts of life, like the parts of life that we're not talking about,
Yeah.
caring for our aging parents, that it's such a privilege, and there can be joy in that,
Yeah.
but there can also be sadness in that, and
Mm,
all of those things are true at the
yeah.
same time. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Oh,
Thanks,
coming on,
Claire.
Claire.
thank you. I'm so honoured that you see me as a good fit for your audience, and I'm wrapped. I'm really honoured that you've asked me and invited me on. So thank you, girly
Thank
pops.
you. Oh, Cathy, gosh, Claire, I love her.
Yeah, I know.
And I think, she's
Isn't
our
she
new
just
friend.
a joy? Like,
Yes.
there's a lot. There was a lot there. There's a lot to
Mm,
unpack. There's a lot,
mm,
like, I have a lot of thoughts.
mm,
But the main one is that she lives her life authentically, like,
mm.
and genuinely in every sense of that word. I do think authentically is a little bit overused
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but I think Claire brings real authenticity and vulnerability to how she lives her life. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And she spoke so openly, and she's been through a lot in
Mm,
very recent times with her dad, and so much change. And I loved her honesty, and as you say, her authenticity, but just her talking about her journey to becoming sober, and also being man free, her decision not to have kids.
mm.
All such interesting topics. Like, I feel like we need to maybe get her back on at some stage and talk
I
more.
know.
Yeah,
There's,
because
there's still a lot there that
yeah.
we didn't really even touch on, even like man free, kid
Mm,
free.
mm.
I know she kind of touched on it, and we didn't really circle back
No.
on a difficult relationship, but she really is leaning into this stage of her life where because she is man free, because she is kid free, she feels, I think, that she can lean really openly and wholeheartedly, without having to include anyone else in those decisions, into caring for her dad.
Mm. It was really precious, wasn't it, when she spoke so fondly of him and their relationship,
Mm,
and also I really think it's an important conversation that more of us, especially in this stage of life, need to talk about caring for elderly parents or elders or her senior
yeah.
dad, as she called him. So I was so glad she brought that up, and we had a chance to talk to her about that, as it's such an important topic.
And genuinely, if you have not watched the reel of her dad eating ice cream at 7 o'clock in the morning,
Gorgeous.
give it a watch.
Yeah.
And maybe they can get an ice cream deal out of it. Who knows?
Yes. And go follow Claire on the socials. We'll put a link to
Absolutely.
her page in our show notes.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to The Change, a fully independent podcast. Whether you're seeking inspiration, curious about change, or just here for the great banter, we'd love you to make The Change your new go-to podcast.
And even better, send us your voice notes or questions about change. We'll use them on the show. Email us at changepod2023@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at _change_pod. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more on The Change.